I never expected my life to implode on a random Tuesday evening. But there I was, standing in my kitchen, staring at a receipt that had fallen out of my husband's jacket pocket while I was doing laundry. A $4,800 charge from Cartier. Our 15th wedding anniversary wasn't for months. And my birthday had just passed with nothing more than a rushed happy birthday and a grocery store bouquet. My name is Riley, and until that moment, I thought I had the whole working mom with dreams thing figured out. Sure, my fashion design career wasn't exactly where I wanted it to be yet, but I was getting there. My teenage daughter Zoe was going through her moody phase, but what 15-year-old isn't? And Ethan? Well, Ethan was Ethan, always chasing the next big sale, always trying to keep up with his high-rolling colleagues. Mom, have you seen my blue hoodie? Zoe's voice echoed from upstairs, pulling me from my thoughts. Check the dryer. I called back, my fingers still gripping the receipt. The paper trembled slightly in my hand. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. The third time this week. I opened our joint banking app, something I'd been doing more frequently lately. There it was, clear as day. Repeated charges at upscale restaurants I'd never been to, hotel parking fees, and now this Cartier purchase. The numbers swam before my eyes as my stomach twisted into knots. Mom, Zoe appeared in the doorway, wearing the hoodie she'd been looking for. Are you okay? You look weird. I forced a smile. Just tired, honey. How about pizza for dinner? Dad's not coming home again? She rolled her eyes, already knowing the answer. He's working late.
Right.
Working. She made air quotes with her fingers. Sophie from my class saw him at Bella Luna last week with some woman. She said they looked pretty cozy. The receipt crumpled in my fist. Bella Luna, there it was on our statement, $247 for dinner on that exact night. My daughter knew before I did. The humiliation burned worse than the betrayal. I'm sure it was just a client meeting, I said, but my voice sounded hollow even to me. Zoe shrugged, but her eyes held a knowing look that no 15-year-old should have. Whatever you say, Mom. Can I get extra pepperoni on my half? As I reached for my phone to order dinner, another text from Ethan lit up the screen. Don't forget we have dinner with the Thompsons on Friday. Wear something nice. I stared at the message, thinking about that Cartier receipt and wondering who would be wearing whatever he bought. For the first time in 15 years, I felt like a stranger in my own life. I spent the next 3 days watching Ethan like a hawk, noting every phone call he took in another room, every work dinner that kept him out late. Friday night arrived, and I pulled out all the stops getting ready for dinner with the Thompsons, not for him, but because Ava Thompson had been my best friend since college, and I needed her sharp legal mind more than ever. You look different, Ethan said as I applied my lipstick. His reflection appeared behind mine in the bathroom mirror, and I fought the urge to flinch when he placed his hands on my shoulders. Good different. Like when we first met. I met his eyes in the mirror. Funny how memories work, isn't it? How you think you know exactly how something happened, then one day you realize you might have been wrong all along. His hands tensed slightly on my shoulders before dropping away. We should get going. Don't want to be late. The restaurant was exactly the kind of place Ethan loved, all crystal chandeliers and white tablecloths. Ava's husband Mark was running late, so she and I headed to the ladies' room while Ethan ordered drinks. Okay, spill it, Ava said the moment the door closed behind us. You've got that look. What look? The one you had right before you told your mother you were dropping out of business school to study fashion design. She crossed her arms. What's going on? I pulled out my phone and showed her the banking app. Look at these charges. And this. I produced the crumpled Cartier receipt for my clutch. Ava's expression darkened as she scrolled. That son of A. How long has this been going on? I don't know. But Zoe said. The bathroom door opened, and a young woman walked in. She was stunning in that effortless way that usually screamed, expensive maintenance, wearing a delicate gold bracelet that made my stomach lurch. It was from Cartier's latest collection. Our eyes met in the mirror as she washed her hands. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. That's a gorgeous dress, she said to me. Vintage. Original design, actually. I'm a fashion designer. How fascinating. She dried her hands and headed for the door, then paused. You must be Riley. Ethan's mentioned you. The air left my lungs. She was gone before I could respond, leaving behind a trace of familiar perfume, the same scent I'd noticed on Ethan's shirts lately. Ava grabbed my arm. Riley, breathe. We're going to handle this, but right now you need to get through dinner without letting him know you've figured it out. Tomorrow, we'll talk strategy. I nodded, reapplying my lipstick with shaking hands. You know what the worst part is? He bought her jewelry worth more than what he's contributed to Zoe's college fund this year. Don't worry, Ava said, her lawyer voice taking over. We're going to make him regret every penny. The weekend after the dinner felt like walking through quicksand. Every step I took around our house, every moment pretending everything was normal, pulled me deeper into a suffocating reality. I'd spent Saturday documenting every suspicious transaction I could find, while Ethan was supposedly at a client golf event. Sunday morning, I woke to voices downstairs. Zoe was arguing with someone. You can't just skip all my stuff and expect me not to care? Her voice cracked with emotion. Sweetheart, these deals don't close themselves. Ethan's practiced excuse voice. I'll make it up to you. Like you made up missing my art show? Or my debate competition? A door slammed, followed by the sound of Zoe's footsteps pounding up the stairs. I found her college fund statement sitting on Ethan's desk later that morning. The balance was half what it should have been. My hands shook as I took photos of the document with my phone. Looking for something? Ethan's voice made me jump. Just organizing the office. I held up a stack of random papers. These are from 2019. He stepped closer, reaching past me to close his laptop. His cologne mixed with a floral scent that wasn't mine. You've been acting strange lately. Everything okay? Actually, I wanted to talk about Zoe's college fund. His expression shifted, almost imperceptibly. What about it? It's looking a little light. The market's been volatile. You know how investments go. He straightened his golf shirt, the new one with the country club logo. Speaking of which, I've been thinking, maybe you should put the boutique plans on hold. Focus on something more stable. The audacity of his suggestion made my blood boil. Like what? Standing by while you drain our savings. What's that supposed to mean? Before I could respond, Zoe appeared in the doorway. Mom, can you drive me to Sophie's house? I can't stay here right now. I grabbed my keys, grateful for the escape. As we pulled out of the driveway, I noticed Zoe clutching her phone, tears streaming down her face. Sophie sent me something, she whispered. About Dad. My knuckles went white on the steering wheel. What is it? She held out her phone. On the screen was a social media post. Savannah, the woman from the restaurant, at some charity gala. In the background, partially cut off but unmistakable, was Ethan with his hand on her waist. Everyone at school is going to see this, Zoe said, her voice small. Sophie's mom is friends with her. They're saying... I pulled the car over, my vision blurring. What are they saying, honey? That he's leaving us for her. That she's pregnant. The world tilted on its axis. In that moment, watching my daughter's heart break alongside mine, something inside me hardened. This wasn't just about me anymore. This was about Zoe, her future, and everything Ethan was carelessly destroying. After dropping Zoe at Sophie's house, I drove to the one place I knew I could think clearly, my old design studio at the community college. Mr. Bennett always let his former students use the space on weekends, and I desperately needed to escape. I wasn't expecting him to be there. Riley. He looked up from his desk, reading glasses perched on his nose. I haven't seen you in months. I'm sorry to intrude. My voice cracked. I just needed. Sit. He gestured to a chair, already pulling out the emergency tea bags he kept for student crises. Your latest boutique sketches came across my desk. The investment committee was impressed. I'd almost forgotten about the small business grant application I'd submitted weeks ago. I should probably withdraw that. Why would you do that? My phone buzzed, another text from Ethan. Where are you? We need to talk. Because my husband has been emptying our savings to fund his affair with a woman who's apparently carrying his child. The words tumbled out, bitter and sharp. Mr. Bennett's expression didn't change, but he pushed a tissue box closer. And you think that means you should give up on your dreams? I don't have a choice. The boutique requires startup capital, and Ethan's burned through everything we had, including half of Zoe's college fund. Interesting. He pulled out a folder. Because according to this, you've already been awarded the grant. Full funding, contingent on you securing a location within 60 days. The room spun slightly. What? The committee voted last week. I was going to call you Monday. He slid the folder across the desk. Sometimes the universe has interesting timing. My phone buzzed again. Ava, this time. Check your email now. Found something you need to see. I opened my laptop with trembling hands. There in my inbox was an email from Ava with attachments, bank statements from an account I'd never seen before in Ethan's name only. The balance made me gasp. Remember what I taught you about design? Mr. Bennett said quietly. Sometimes you have to completely unravel something before you can rebuild it into something better. My phone lit up again, Ethan. Zoe just called me crying. Whatever you're planning, think about her. I looked at the grant approval, then at the bank statements showing the money Ethan had hidden away. All those years of him telling me my boutique dreams were too risky, while he secretly siphoned away our savings. I am thinking about her, I whispered, though Ethan couldn't hear me. For the first time in years, I'm thinking clearly about both of us. I turned to Mr. Bennett. Do you still have contact information for that commercial real estate agent? The one with the spaces in the arts district. He smiled, already reaching for his phone. Ready to rebuild? The real estate agent showed me 3 properties that afternoon. I was standing in the third one, mentally placing dress forms and display cases, when my phone lit up with Sophie's mother's number. Riley, you need to come get Zoe. Now. My daughter's voice echoed through the empty storefront as I rushed out. I'm fine, Mom. Sophie's mom is overreacting. 20 minutes later, I stood in Sophie's kitchen, staring at an empty vodka bottle and 2 very drunk 15-year-olds. I found them in the basement, Sophie's mom said. They were looking up Savannah Cole's address online. The drive home was silent until Zoe suddenly spoke. I wanted to tell her to leave him alone. By showing up drunk at her apartment, my knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. What were you thinking? I was thinking that while you're playing detective with Aunt Ava and looking at stupid stores, nobody's actually doing anything. She punched the dashboard. He's just going to leave us for her and the baby, and you're acting like everything's fine. I pulled into our driveway, right next to Ethan's car. He wasn't supposed to be home. Go to your room, I said quietly. We'll talk about this later. The moment we walked in, I knew something was wrong. Ethan was in the living room, surrounded by papers, my papers. The grant approval, the bank statements Ava had found, the lease applications I'd picked up that afternoon. Planning on telling me about any of this? His voice was dangerously calm. Like you told me about your secret account? Or Savannah? Or the baby? He flinched. Who told you? Everyone knows. Zoe screamed from the stairs. The whole school knows. Sophie's mom knows. Everyone but Mom knew, and you let her look stupid in front of everyone. Zoe, go to your room, Ethan said. No. She stormed down the stairs. I found Mom crying in the laundry room last week. She thinks I didn't see, but I did. You did that. You and your stupid girlfriend with her stupid Cartier bracelet. That's enough. Ethan's shout made us both jump. I stepped between them. Don't you dare raise your voice at her. Not after what you've done. What I've done? He laughed bitterly. I built everything we have. While you chased your boutique dreams, I kept us afloat. And now you're what? Going to take half of everything and play shop owner? No, I said, picking up the lease applications. I'm going to take what's legally mine, including the money you hid, and build something real. For me and for Zoe. Mom, Zoe's voice was small again. Pack a bag, honey. We're staying at Aunt Ava's tonight. Riley, Ethan started. And tomorrow, I cut him off. We're going to talk about how you're going to make this right. All of it. Or the next person who finds out about your secret account will be the IRS. 3 days at Ava's turned into a week. I'd signed the lease on the storefront, But every time I tried to feel excited about it, Zoe's words echoed in my head. Nobody's actually doing anything. The mediation meeting was set for Thursday morning. Ava's office, neutral ground. I arrived early, armed with documentation of every financial transgression, every lie, every betrayal. I was ready for war. I wasn't ready for Savannah to be there. She has a right to be part of this discussion, Ethan said, not meeting my eyes. Given her condition. Ava's hand squeezed my shoulder. Riley is not obligated to. No. I cut her off. Let's hear it. All of it. Savannah spoke first. The baby? It's not his. The room went silent. Ethan's face drained of color. What? His whisper was barely audible. I lost it 6 weeks ago. She twisted the Cartier bracelet on her wrist. I was going to tell you, but then you started talking about leaving your wife, buying us a house. I laughed. I couldn't help it. The sound was harsh, foreign. So you let everyone think. Let our daughter think. I'm sorry, she said. I never meant. Get out. My voice was steady, surprising even me. Now. She fled, leaving behind that damned perfume and the weight of her confession. Riley, Ethan started. I didn't know. You emptied our savings, I said. Destroyed our daughter's trust. Humiliated me in front of everyone we know. And it wasn't even real? I can explain. My phone buzzed. Text from Zoe. The lease papers you left on the counter? Dad's lawyer just called. He's contesting it. Says you can't use his money. The room spun slightly. Everything I'd planned, all my careful preparations to start over, suddenly felt like a house of cards. You're blocking the lease? I looked at Ethan. After everything? I can't let you take half of everything I've built. His voice hardened. The boutique is a fantasy, Riley. It always has been. You need to be realistic. Realistic? Ava interrupted. Like hiding money from your wife? Like letting everyone believe you had a pregnant girlfriend? Stay out of this, he snapped. Another text from Zoe. Mom, where are you? I need you. I stood up, gathering my papers. We're done here. Riley, wait. No. I turned back at the door. You know what's funny? I came here ready to fight about money, about betrayal, about lies. But standing here now looking at you, I realized something. You didn't destroy our marriage when you met Savannah. You destroyed it every time you told me my dreams weren't worth believing in. And that started long before her. I walked out, leaving behind the man I'd once loved and the life I'd thought we were building. My phone buzzed again, Mr. Bennett this time. Remember what I said about unraveling? Come by the studio. I have an idea. I found Zoe's note on Ava's kitchen counter. Gone to fix things. Don't worry. My heart stopped when I saw the address scrawled at the bottom, Savannah's apartment building. The elevator was broken. I took the stairs 2 at a time to the 4th floor, my footsteps echoing in the stairwell. As I rounded the corner, I heard voices through an open door. You don't understand, Zoe was saying. He's not who you think he is. Honey, I know exactly who your father is. Savannah's voice was gentler than I expected. That's why I had to tell the truth today. I stepped into the doorway. Zoe sat on a pristine white couch, while Savannah stood by the window, still wearing that Cartier bracelet. Mom, Zoe jumped up. I can explain. Get your things, I said quietly. We're leaving. Actually, Savannah interrupted, I think you both should stay. There's something you need to hear. I've heard enough. He's doing it again. She pulled out her phone. Different company, different scheme. I found these after I lost the baby. She handed me the phone. He's been embezzling from his company. That's where the money really came from. My hands shook as I scrolled through the documents. Wire transfers. Fake accounts. All with Ethan's fingerprints. Why are you showing me this? Because my brother works for the SEC. She twisted the bracelet again. And I'm turning these over tomorrow. The front door creaked. No, you're not. Ethan stood there, his perfect facade finally cracking. Riley, take Zoe and go. Or what? I stepped between him and Savannah. You'll destroy her life like you tried to destroy mine? I did everything for us. His voice cracked. The money, the status. It was all to give you and Zoe the life you deserved. No, Zoe spoke up, her voice strong. You did it because you're a coward. Because you'd rather lie than admit you're not perfect. Zoe. She's right, Savannah said. And now, everyone's going to know the truth. Ethan lunged for the phone. I moved without thinking, shoving him back. The Cartier bracelet caught the light as Savannah raised her phone, recording everything. It's over, I said. The lies, the manipulation, all of it. You have until tomorrow to confess to your company, or these documents go to the SEC. You wouldn't. Watch me. I turned to Zoe. Let's go home. As we walked out, Savannah called after us. Riley. She slipped off the bracelet. I think this belongs to you. Sell it. Put it toward your boutique. I caught it one-handed, feeling its weight. Not just gold and diamonds, but freedom. The price of truth. Behind us, Ethan's world began to unravel, one thread at a time. 6 months later, I stood in my boutique, watching Zoe arrange mannequins in the front window. The morning sun caught the McKenna Designs sign, casting golden shadows across the floor. The opening party starts in an hour, Mr. Bennett said, appearing beside me with 2 coffee cups. Nervous, terrified. I accepted the coffee. But the good kind of terrified. The bell chimed. Savannah walked in, looking different without her designer clothes and perfectly styled hair. I wasn't sure I should come, but she held out an envelope. The SEC finished their investigation. Thought you should know. I took it but didn't open it. I already knew Ethan had taken a plea deal. The restitution payments were helping fund the boutique. Poetic justice that even Ava appreciated. Mom. Zoe called from the window. Sophie's mom just posted about us on her social media. We're already getting follows. Savannah smiled awkwardly. She's different now. Happier. We both are. I gestured to the racks of clothes. Want to look around? Friends and family discount. Her eyes widened at the word friends. I'd like that. The morning flew by. Ava arrived with champagne. Mr. Bennett brought his current students to see what was possible. Even Sophie's mom showed up, her social media influence already driving curious customers through the door. Near closing time, Zoe appeared at my elbow. Dad called. He's starting therapy. How do you feel about that? She shrugged, but her eyes were thoughtful. Like maybe people can change if they want it badly enough. I watched her return to the register, confidently handling a customer's purchase. She'd grown so much, and not just in height. Quite a day, Mr. Bennett said, helping me straighten the last rack. Though I notice you haven't touched the back room yet. I glanced at the door marked private. Behind it lay my real dream, a workshop where I could teach young designers. Pass on what I'd learned about both fashion and resilience. One step at a time, I said. We're still unraveling some things, but we're getting there. The setting sun painted the boutique in warm light. I touched the business card in my pocket, a teenager who'd come in earlier, asking about apprenticeships. In her, I'd seen the same hunger for creation I'd once had, before I let someone else's fears dim my dreams. Ready to lock up? Zoe asked, jingling the keys. Actually, I said, pulling out the business card, I think we have one more thing to do today. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying what hurt you. Sometimes it's about building something stronger in its place. Something that helps others rebuild too. I unlocked the workshop door. Time to start the next chapter.